the Hinayana. Even though they hear that they must suffer extreme hardship for innumerable eons before they may attain nirvana, they do not feel any fear, for they believe and know that from the beginning all things are of themselves in nirvana. 2. The aspiration for enlightenment through understanding and deeds. It should be understood that this type of aspiration is even more excellent than the former. Because the bodhisattvas who cherish this aspiration are those who are about to finish the first term of the incalculable eons since the time when they first had the correct faith, they have come to have a profound understanding of the principle of suchness and to entertain no attachment to their attainments obtained through discipline. Knowing that the essential nature of reality is free from covetousness, they, in conformity to it, devote themselves to the perfection of charity. Knowing that the essential nature of reality is free from the defilements
which originate from the desires of the five senses, they, in conformity to it, devote themselves to the perfection of precepts. Knowing that the essential nature of reality is without suffering and free from anger and anxiety, they, in conformity to it, devote themselves to the perfection of forbearance. Knowing that the essential nature of reality does not have any distinction of body and mind and is free from indolence, they, in conformity to it, devote themselves to the perfection of zeal. Knowing that the essential nature of reality is always calm and free from confusion in its essence, they, in conformity to it, devote themselves to the perfection of meditation. Knowing that the essential nature of reality is always characterized by gnosis and is free from ignorance, they, in conformity to it, devote themselves to the perfection of wisdom.
3. The aspiration for enlightenment through insight. As for the bodhisattvas of this group, who range from the stage of pure-heartedness to the last stage of bodhisattvahood, what object do they realize? They realize suchness. We speak of it as an object because of the evolving mind, but in fact there is no object in this realization that can be stated in terms of a subject-object relationship. There is only the insight into suchness transcending both the seer and the seen. We call this the experience of the Dharmakaya. The bodhisattvas of this group can, in an instant of thought, go to all worlds of the universe, honor the Buddhas, and ask them to turn the wheel of the Dharma. In order to guide and benefit all men, they do not rely on words. Sometimes, for the sake of weak-willed men, they show how to attain perfect enlightenment quickly by skipping over the stages of the bodhisattva. And sometimes, for the sake of indolent men, they say that men may attain enlightenment at the end of numberless eons. Thus they can demonstrate innumerable expedient means and suprarational feats. But in reality all these bodhisattvas are the same in that they are alike in their lineage, their capacity, their aspiration, and their realization of suchness. Therefore, there is no such thing as skipping over the stages, for all bodhisattvas must pass through the 3 terms of innumerable eons before they can fully attain enlightenment. However, because of the differences in the various beings, there are also different ways of teaching them what to practice. The characteristics of the aspiration for enlightenment entertained by a bodhisattva belonging to this group can be identified in terms of the 3 subtle modes of mind. The first is the true mind, for it is free from false intellectual discrimination. The second is the mind capable of applying expedient means, for it pervades everywhere spontaneously and benefits sentient beings. The third is the mind subject to the influence of karma operating in subconsciousness, for it appears and disappears in the most subtle ways. Again, a bodhisattva of this group, when he brings his excellent qualities to perfection, manifests himself in the heaven of Akanishta, the highest heaven in the world of form according to the cosmology of Indian Buddhism, as the highest physical being in the world. Through wisdom united with original enlightenment of suchness in an instant of thought, he suddenly extinguishes ignorance. Then he is called the one who has obtained all-embracing knowledge. Performing suprarational acts spontaneously, he can manifest himself everywhere in the universe and benefit all sentient beings. Question: since space is infinite, worlds are infinite. Since worlds are infinite, beings are infinite. Since beings are infinite, the variety of their mentalities must also be infinite. The objects of the senses and the mind must therefore be limitless, and it is difficult to know and understand them all. If ignorance is destroyed, there will be no thoughts in the mind. How then can a comprehension that has no content be called all-embracing knowledge?
Answer: All objects are originally of one mind and are beyond thought determination. Because unenlightened people perceive objects in their illusion, they impose limitations in their mind. Since they erroneously develop these thought determinations, which do not correspond to reality, dharmata, they are unable to reach any inclusive comprehension. The Buddha-tathagatas are free from all perverse views and thoughts that block correct vision, therefore, there are no corners into which their comprehension does not penetrate. Their mind is true and real, therefore, it is no other than the essential nature of all things. The Buddhas, because of their very nature, can shed light on all objects conceived in illusion. They are endowed with an influence of great wisdom that functions as the application of innumerable expedient means. Accommodating themselves to the capacity of understanding of various sentient beings, they can reveal to them the manifold meanings of the doctrine. This is the reason they may be called those who have all-embracing knowledge. Question: if the Buddhas are able to perform spontaneous acts, to manifest themselves everywhere, and to benefit all sentient beings, then the sentient beings should all be able, by seeing their physical forms, by witnessing their miracles, or by hearing their preachings, to gain benefit. Why is it then that most people in this world have not been able to see the Buddhas?
Answer: the dharmakaya of all the Buddhas, being one and the same everywhere, is omnipresent. Since the Buddhas are free from any fixation of thought, their acts are said to be spontaneous. They reveal themselves in accordance with the mentalities of all the various sentient beings. The mind of the sentient being is like a mirror. Just as a mirror cannot reflect images if it is coated with dirt, so the dharmakaya cannot appear in the mind of the sentient being if it is coated with the dirt of defilements. Part 4. On Faith and Practice. Having already discussed interpretation, we will now present a discussion of faith and practice. This discussion is intended for those who have not yet joined the group of beings who are determined to attain enlightenment. On 4 faiths. Question: what kind of faith should a man have and how should he practice it?
Answer: briefly, there are 4 kinds of faith. The first is the faith in the ultimate source. Because of this faith, a man comes to meditate with joy on the principle of suchness. The second is the faith in the numberless excellent qualities of the Buddhas. Because of this faith, a man comes to meditate on them always, to draw near to them in fellowship, to honor them, and to respect them, developing his capacity for goodness and seeking after the all-embracing knowledge. The third is the faith in the great benefits of the Dharma, teaching. Because of this faith, a man comes constantly to remember and practice various disciplines leading to enlightenment. The fourth is the faith in the Sangha, Buddhist community, whose members are able to devote themselves to the practice of benefiting both themselves and others. Because of this faith, a man comes to approach constantly and with joy the assembly of bodhisattvas and to seek instruction from them in the correct practice. On 5 practices. There are 5 ways of practice which will enable a man to perfect his faith. They are the practices of charity, observance of precepts, patience, zeal, and cessation of illusions and clear observation.
Question: how should a man practice charity? Answer: if he sees anyone coming to him begging, he should give him the wealth and other things in his possession in so far as he is able. Thus, while freeing himself from greed and avarice, he causes the beggar to be joyful. Or, if he sees one who is in hardship, in fear, or in grave danger, he should, according to his ability and understanding, explain it by the use of expedient means. In doing so, however, he should not expect any fame, material gain, or respect, but he should think only of benefiting himself and others alike and of extending the merit that he gains from the practice of charity toward the attainment of enlightenment.